Morning, friends. Jessica Mason here with a very special sober story. I had a really incredible experience last night, and I've been posting about it, so forgive the overuse of the word profound. It just has rendered me speechless beyond that. And to follow is a very long speech about it. Come on, buddy. Last night I went to a water and lantern festival, and I've only seen like the sky lanterns, right? And so when I heard water lantern, I thought it was releasing the lanterns over water, but it was actually these little like floating piece of wood with a piece of paper wrapped around it with little sticks in it. But we got to write on the paper, and you could write, what you are letting go of, or what you're trying to bring into your life, what you're trying to manifest. But it had 4 sides, and so I wrote on one side what I'm releasing, and on one side what I am manifesting. On one side, a letter to my old self, and on the last side, a letter to my future self. And this event was so well done. Everything except for the food. They needed 10 times as many vendors as they had. But they had music playing, and it was upbeat and uplifting. But then when it was time for the launch, it was very soulful music. And I took a video of when I was writing on my lantern. The song is Exile, which is apparently by Taylor Swift, of course, and Bon Iver. And as I'm writing things down on paper, I felt like I was literally putting them down. And it's not a song I was super familiar with before. It's been on repeat since. But the line, second, third, and 100th chances, balancing on broken bridges. But the line that started my video was her saying, "I'm not your problem anymore." And that was the last thing that my husband said to me, that you're not my problem anymore. And so to have a word that, a phrase that was hurtful when I heard it and could have been very triggering, to have it play at that moment, it was just like a crack in the universe, and it just opened up and sucked all of this stuff out of me, And my friend that I went with said that I'm like a Death Eater, I saw Green Mile, where he sucks in all the negativity. That I like taking people's pain from them, but in a lot of ways and a lot of times I internalize that pain, and I felt it just coming out of me. And as we sent the lanterns off into the water, the weight that just came off, and he just went because I had a ticket, he's just going as a friend, and he had an incredible experience with it too, not even realizing that he had stuff to release. And the experience beginning to end was such profound. I needed the source. I just told a client about it, and he said that it was far out. So I'll use that. It was far out. I love that. Use that more. But I've known this guy, like he was my first boyfriend in 6th grade, and we haven't been in touch the whole time or close the whole time, but off and on, for 6th grade was 11, so 30 years. And so he's seen me in different phases of my life. And it was, over an hour drive there, an hour and a half in the food truck line. Just hours and hours of catching up and talking about things. And something interesting that didn't even click until like I'm halfway through the drive back. Because he's sharing his opinions of me and memories of when we've been in each other's lives. And they're memories of kindness and compassion and authenticity. And I think I've done myself a disservice. When I went off the pain meds in February-ish and started dealing with the early addiction triggers and cravings, flashbacks that I expected, when I actually got sober but didn't have, I addressed how I had this need. This way today? Okay. I had this need to see life as before sobriety and after sobriety. And it was oil and water, and the two didn't mix. And I chose a partner who validated that because, you know, he loved who I am now, but had zero tolerance for who I was. And the phrasing there is important because it's not just, I didn't see it as he has zero tolerance for this part of me. It was who I was. It was past tense. So it was okay. I have zero tolerance for it too. But I feel like I have shaded my memory of myself, that I have, in making amends and listening to things, and recently, you know, finding out that somebody who knew me, it still believes these things about me. I think to feel safe and to feel okay about myself, I had to really cling to the idea, well, I'm not that person anymore. You know, I wouldn't do those things now, and that's out of my character. And while those things may be true, I'm very much that same person. I'm always me. And hearing stories about myself that really contradict this view that I have of myself during that time, in a good way, it was really eye-opening. I have always been kind. I've always been giving and compassionate and loved with a big heart. And I've always strived for authenticity. And I was as authentic as I could be at the time. And it was never, I mean, outside of addiction, it was never intentional deception. I was deceiving myself. So it wasn't about being inauthentic. It was being unaware. And that's different. Even, you know, in the marriage where I was getting cheated on and, you know, struggling to be happy and feel loved. And I was posting about the being in love. I never made up stories. You know, I had those good days. I just only talked about those. But it wasn't because I was trying to fool anybody into thinking I had this great life. It was because I really wanted to believe that I was okay now, that I had gotten sober and I was okay. And you know, choosing that partner who tricked me into thinking that he was available when he wasn't. And then when I found out that I had been deceived and that I was a mistress, I had embodied him to be such a physical representation of my sobriety. He was my knight in shining armor. I got sober on Saturday. We started dating on Monday. And I was so terrified to lose that I allowed myself to be in a situation that is still causing me problems to this day. I mean, it's still being talked about. That's why I'm addressing it in a video. Like, it is part of my story. And yeah, I wish that it hadn't gone that way. But it's easy to look back now and say, well, I would do it differently now. Well, of course I'd do it differently now. But going back to that time where I was not capable of doing other than I did. And I think that when, oh, come on, buddy. Sorry. I think that when people are good and kind and loving and doing their best, even when they're screwing up, like how do you fault them for that? I mean, you don't have to have it in your life, but you know, we're just doing our best. And my best now is different than my best then. So this whole experience last night, and forgive the long video, but this was a really profound. You take a shot every time I use the word profound, just, you know, describing this story. You're probably an alcoholic and probably watching this video. But you know, beginning to end, that this person was also somebody who was negatively affected by the rumors that were being spread by me. And I worried that these rumors she was spreading about me were true, that he had felt used by me and discarded and manipulated. But then hearing him talk about his memory of us reflects, you know, what I thought went down. Like, I was always open and upfront, and hearing that I wasn't a total piece of shit, even when I was doing piece of shit things. Like, I just need to forgive myself. And that's part of the 12-step process. And it is hard. I thought letting go of resentments toward other people is hard, and it is in early sobriety. That's why you start with it. But once you realize that your life is your doing, it's hard to hold resentments against people, but then it becomes hard to forgive yourself. And I have moved past the harboring of resentments, but I have felt this need to punish myself. And that's always been deeply ingrained in me. Like, I mean, I have Catholic Jewish friends who are like, girl, yeah, nothing on you. Because I have always felt like if I forgive myself, baby bunny, that I'm saying it was okay. And I couldn't do that. It wasn't okay. I will never be okay with those things. But that's not what forgiveness is. Because, as I'm listening to this song and releasing the hurt from Quan, I don't hold anger towards him. Oh, it's choking me up. I don't hold resentments. I love him, and I will always love him, and I want him to be happy. And I didn't leave him to punish him. I left him because both of us deserve to be happy and healthy. And if I can do that for him while he's still doing things to hurt me, if I can forgive him without saying what he's doing is okay, how can I not do that for myself? How can I not show myself that kindness? I don't have to continue to do those things that hurt people. I don't have to say that it's okay that I did them. But I'll be damned if I'm going to keep punishing myself for something that's beyond my control. I can't change the past. I'm not going to choose a partner again who wants me to, I'm letting it go. I released unnecessary worry, anger, resentment, and I brought into my life forgiveness, acceptance. And I'll be damned if it didn't work. Profound experience. There's another one in Denver, July 17th. It's past the early bird pricing, so tickets have gone up $20. But I'm telling you, worth it. If you have an opportunity, go. If you hear of a sky lantern event, tell me. I would still really like to do that. I'm going to try to go on the 17th. If you can do a letting go ceremony just in your own backyard, because Quan and I did try counseling, and I said he can't let go of things that are behind me that I have no control over. And she suggested, or I suggested and she agreed, maybe that's why it didn't work, that we write everything down, everything that is causing us problems, but we have no control over, and burn it. And I believe to this day, especially even more after last night, I believe that could have saved our marriage at many different places. So please, even if you don't think you're holding on to something, put on a good playlist, choose it wisely, and just start writing. Because you will be surprised at what you have been keeping in your body. Give it a shot.